I'll be reading your 151st public domain periodical 2025 in 322nd since February 2023. First one's called Be the Music. It is said that music is the language of angels. May you be in tune with that song that helps you rise to the occasion and shine when light must be strong. When darkness needs illumination by the example you put forth, as you represent what's decent to those on transgression's course, do not be baffled or dismayed if you only plant the seed. The fruit that will be brought from it is what the future needs. Do your part with loving heart. When love's impart is what you'll start. Do your part with loving heart, then love's impart is what you'll start to spread its ripples both near and far. Conversely, waging war on one's own people, MAGA pussies pick the path, kneeling to their idol fabrication's need for wrath. Wanting to be angry at more than their own faults, they point the finger of damnation to unleash hell from its vaults. Of all the things that could be said, of all the ways we could be led, of all the fates that could be had, if not for hates that drive us mad, of all the ways that we could think, of all the waters we could drink, of all the edges to be on the brink of all that comes from lack of love, of all the voices to be heard, of all that's placed into a word. For every interaction experience has brought, for all that every soul ever taught, either by their speech or behavior that my cellular strands have caught. In this nomadic journey of life, where the more we learn we grow, especially when the river hydrates our roots in the flow, wisdom awaits in everything to be unlocked by attentive eyes, in the nurture of humility that seeks to be more wise. Which is just another way of saying, seek and you shall find. Artists are always trying to bridge that gap that exists between heart and mind. Millions recognize the danger of falsehood and loose tongue, but MAGA has been paralyzed by the toxin in Trump's dung. He might... dentures, He might be just a parrot repeating what he is told, but everyone has a choice and he chooses to be cold. He has already declared an enemy in the many things he said. He has already declared me an enemy in the many things he said, so I do not have to pussyfoot around or euphemize what is read. His disdain for truth that rebukes him when he clings to corruption's root, wanting integrity to kneel and to his wrongs salute, portends the coming evil that has already shown its face, and all the puppets with masks who do what cruelty does in his place. Condemnation by the damned keeps happening through time, hence the artists of light who fight the darkness with rhyme. Decisions must be made when dictators force their way, when ego becomes lord to obscure the light of day. Families hide from fascists who think they are supreme, who abandon the golden rule to worship the law of their dream, the one that lets them do evil and call the behavior good, if they call it patriotic and describe it in a way as if they should. The bamboozled swallow the bait, hook, line, and sinker down the throat, pulled by a force that will kill them once it reaches the boat. They would rather have their ears tickle that they will be blessed for curse, that rewarding will be the exchange, human decency, for what fills their purse. The parables can be many, religion matters not. The spirit of humanity is all that survival's got. The arrogant ignore this, they choose a different path. They say they love forgiveness, then serve the Lord of wrath. Sorry to be so blunt, but behavior warrants the word, even if you dismiss it as deranged delusion that you heard. The one called the way, the truth, and the life said that we are to love our enemies, not kill them with bomb or knife. But, the ancient serpent of seduction, portrayed in the Garden of Eden, is still effective in deception to make paradise the place we are leaving. Surely we won't die if we abandon the golden rule, says Project 2025, the fabrication of fools. Fools who have grown powerful, fools who have grown powerful, making prey of whom they can, enough to grow intoxicated and put the idolatry in a plan. The 47th hates the press for the truth he knows they have to tell, so he has been proactive, wishing true journalists to go to hell. Let me say that again. The 47th hates the press for the truth he knows they have to tell, so he has been proactive, wishing true journalists to go to hell. I am poem ivy, my roots are far and wide, each rhyme designed to shine when the time is right inside. I've enjoyed enough of heaven to not complain when cast in hell, for being the voice I should be and rhyming what love has to tell. I've already been pummeled, bludgeoned, kicked and shot for representing love's presence in the face of moral rot. Those who follow a different Lord that lets them live without respect will obey what the ego demands, that the better should be wrecked. Sorcery becomes the method, those combinations of words that withdraw love from the heart whenever they are heard. Now, whispering in the president's ear, telling lies intended to steer, Stephen Miller casts such spells to make hell on earth appear. Guiding the hand of corruption, easily led by flattery's guise, and predictable lust for acquisition that can make what's intended rise. Such counsel to the president is disease that leads to death, the kind that living prophets can perceive in a person's breath. Like a tree reveals what it is by the fruit it gives to eat, so the portals to abyss provided when they speak. The empty promises of lies, the perpetual disguise, the need to insult and be vile toward those who are more wise, somehow appeals to a fan base that wants to be on top, even though they don't have the strength to be how inhumanity stops. Unearned authority by force, unwarranted by course, undeserved by source, the villainous use of a horse. That's what the GOP has become, like hijackers in a way, forcing a different directive than what the Constitution has to say. Waging war on one's own because MAGA was easily tricked that abandoning the golden rule was a healthy and non-lethal pick. Making mockery of empathy, the living eye of God, all for the drug of apathy that lets them hold the wicked rod. The 47th Cabinet has made it clear their fealty is extreme, and they would rather do the worst of things to keep living in their dream, including calling poets like me enemies of the state, because our voices are a nemesis to those who want to rule by hate. Honestly, Joseph Stegner, November 15th, 2025. Last poem. My battery's about to die. Hopefully I can get through this one. How can one permeate that barrier of assumption with what's true? How can one light the darkness when preserve it men try to do? Artists try each in their way to bring vision to the mind, with a window to the soul to connect with the divine. For what is communication if not for common good? Just like any tool, not everyone uses it as they should. Fabrications formed of malintent, which the doer thinks is right, if it achieves intended objective by its influence on sight. Helps make the ego swell, that there will be no hell at the end of what a liar tells when believers buy what a fibber sells. The myth of Caucasian supremacy has lived experience for a needle to pop that bubble of falsehood propagated by a weasel who insists that it's okay and patriotic too to question one's existence according to skin hue. Of course, they all deny this, saying, "Racist we are not," as they take the bait by the masks to become humanity's rot. Sin is a word that means without. Love is what it lacks. Every act of disrespect is how humanity cracks. Temptations are perpetual to lead the soul astray, to infect a person's perceptions in attempt to take love away. Stereotypes and racist jokes that make the cold-hearted laugh, who do not feel a connection to the victims whom they gaff, with the hook of false projection as if what's said is true, as if they have forgotten they are part of the same species too. Unable to see past their arrogance, the ego makes them blind, caught within a bubble that echoes the sick mind. One they call crystal clear, able to discern who is who. all while showing they can't by calling people gross things untrue. This is not a time for euphemism. Sharp must be a poet's pen to permeate that barrier whereby sepsis returns again, making sick the organism if scalpel precision is not used, to remove belief in the reasons people think others should be abused. Lovingly, a man shot through my pelvis and ribcage. Joseph Stegner, November 16th, 2025. May sanity and humanity prevail in our time. I love you all.